fighting the Simulacrum farmer. Now, first things first, you should always check the pinned comments and this description for any amendments to the build. For example, in the first video that I put up earlier, I accidentally put in Flame Surge of transmission instead of the normal Flame Surge, and the normal Flame Surge is the one you want to use. Okay, so let's go through the topics one by one. First topic, phantasms. I have been told that some people are having issues killing the phantasms from Furnace Mark in later rounds. And how do you solve this? Well, firstly, it is worth noting that it depends on your damage. So we want RF, this RF here, to hit the phantasms that they die. Sometimes your AoE is not high enough and they despawn instead. So you need to actually burn them to death. Now I have, right now, about 285 tooltip, but when I'm actually in combat, it should be like 340? 320. So 330k tooltip. And for me, that's enough. So let's go through the ways why you might not have this damage. Number 1, life tap RF. I have seen a lot of POBs where people have life tap on their RF, but do not have life tap anywhere else. So what does this mean? So in general, when you have life tap on your RF, it's there to enable the duration tag. For example, Malevolence doesn't have duration, okay? But Desecrate Dead, you can use Swift Affliction because there is a duration component to DD. That's because when you inflict and ignite, the ignite has a duration, and therefore Swift Affliction can affect the duration. So why does this not work with RF? It is because RF is a spell, you turn it on, and it's on you the entire time. That means there's no duration component, unless you give a life tap. So life tap, if I still have a gem here, let's get it out, gems, life tap. Okay, if you read it, let's start the wave here. Life tap says, gain life tap after spending blah blah blah, and then all the skills deal more damage while you have life tap. Life tap lasts 4 seconds. This is duration, okay? So this is now a duration component to your support gem, which you can support gem and link it to RF. So now RF has life tap, and you need RF, so you need life tap to enable Swift Affliction. Okay, so Swift Affliction won't work unless you have life tap, but that is not all. That's not all. The second part is that life tap, the buff here, which says while you have life tap, when you cast Righteous Fire, you don't actually spend any like a resource, right? So you don't spend life to gain life tap. So how do you do this? That's why you have life tap with punishment, okay? So this is before my setup. With life tap, you link it with punishment to proc the life tap buff you see on top right corner. So you proc that, and then that will give you life tap as a buff here, which turns on your duration life tap. Now that's the old setup that I used to run. Now I run increased AoE just to give a little bit more AoE while dropping a cluster. Okay, so now I'm using a Righteous Fire, Early Focus, Ink AoE, Efficacy as my 4-link, and I don't have life tap or duration anymore. So that's number 1. Number 2, Flame Surge. It's my mistake. I did not mean to put in the trans Flame Surge. You want the normal Flame Surge because the trans Flame Surge actually does fire damage burning ground based on the Flame Surge damage itself, but the normal version gives you burning damage based on your DD / explosion ignite, right? So it's a huge difference. Normal Flame Surge. Okay, next up, ignite chants. So why do we need a lot of ignite chants? Well, when we are exploding those corpses, or the monsters or phantasms, when they explode, everything has a chance to ignite. So if I don't have chance to ignite, then the corpses won't actually create the ignite that we want. So for example, my DD is at 104% chance to ignite currently, which means I could drop one tattoo. I could drop a tattoo for 99%, and that's fine. So what's the issue if you don't have chance to ignite? The issue here is that when you proc an explosion from Hinokora, you then basically lose DPS, or you just lose uptime, because in some cases your explosions won't set off the ignite, and unfortunately it will take you more explosions to get the proc going. So you could get away with 50%, of course, but that means half your explosions don't do any damage, and that's not great. That's not great. And next up is Leeching. Okay, I'm gonna record it here. Okay, now speaking of Leeching, something I have added recently is a Leeching Leeching prefix on my glove. So what does this do? Leeching is generic damage, and it increases everything. Hinokora, Ignite, RF, everything. So how do you get damage while Leeching? Well, if you look at the glove implicit, it says fire damage leached as life. Now, what's really cool is because when we are playing with Petrified Blood, this causes your sources of healing to never go above 55%. So you are actually always leeching here, but you can never stop leeching. So it's the same as Slayer over Leech. That means with just a little bit of leech, you can permanently keep up the damage of your damage on leech, right? And 40% damage is no joke. 40% is a lot. Okay, next up is Shield. Now, I've gotten a lot of comments with the Shield. I bought it for 2 div, and that was very lucky. Okay, that was very lucky. Now, what if it doesn't exist? Or can you craft it? I would say no, you probably can't. But choose 2 of the 3 suffixes, and then life as prefix, and that's the same thing. Now, if you don't want the mana reservation efficiency, you can instead use Enlighten, and you drop a link like Frostbomb, right? I have Cast and Stun Frostbomb here. That's 2 links. You could technically drop this, right? But I would keep it in because it's very important in some T17 maps where it's like Consecrated Ground, Monster Regen, that kind of stuff, right? It helps a lot. In addition, while I'm at it, you can also respec into Recovery Mastery. Nearby enemies have 50% reduced life regeneration rates. What this does, it means that 75 plus 50 means they do not have any life regen. And that helps a lot when you're dealing with monsters that have really high life regen. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, here's the next super common question. So, why do you have Blade 4 and Firestorm? So in my 6th link, Cast and Stun, people are asking me, what is Firestorm and what is Blade 4 doing? And the answer is actually, it is 2 things. One is that our medium cluster over here is Wrapped in Flame. 5% chance to cover enemies in Ash on hit while you are burning. So because we are RF, we are always burning, but we need to hit things to cover them in Ash, right? And these 2 skills have some of the highest hit rates for the skill itself. So volleys have 7 volleys, and then you got Cascade along with Firestorm pelting, 12 Firestorms, right? You just covering the screen in shit just to proc the Covered in Ash on the bosses when you need it, right? Covered in Ash is what it's for. And that's the number 1 reason. Second reason is Penance Mark, if you read it, says cursed enemies spawn 3 shackled phantasms when hit. When hit, okay? So it is a source of hits, and this is a great source to fix 2 issues in 1. So you fix both of them in 1. Okay? I'll put this in here just in case, and we'll put it back into our folder. Right now I'm doing a 100 times Simulacrum test run, and honestly it's going pretty well, but I'll let you know at the end, or you can shoot to my stream and have a look there. Next up is Malevolence and Determination. So I am currently using Malevolence in Simulacrum because I don't need the armor in Simulacrums. However, I do swap the Determination in T17s, and I actually do take Imbalance Guard. So Imbalance Guard has max DR of 50%, but it does not include resists. So we actually don't have any damage reduction besides endurance charges, and 5 charges is only 20%. So nothing affects the damage reduction from as a downside. On the contrast, for the upside, double armor is a lot. And honestly, one of the few things you would actually die to is going to be super heavy max fizz hits. And a large fizz hit will already be nowhere close to 50% DR. So this is an only upside notable for us, right? When we're flasked up, we're at like I think like 30k armor. And then let's have a look right now, right? With flask up, we should be around 30k armor. 17k, my bad. 17k armor times 2, 34k armor. With determination, I believe it's around, I think it's 100k armor I have determination, I think. And yeah, it adds up to be really, really impactful in T17 maps, having the armor. Now, next up is Desecrate. A lot of people have asked me, why do you not use Desecrate? Well, the number one reason is, let's go POE 3.25 patch notes. Okay, and I'll go straight into Control F. Desecrate. So, corpse spawn by Desecrate and corpse box skills, blah 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 blah. These corpses are only usable for basically minion skills only. No more DD. Okay? So now DD is basically a non-factor in Desecrate. So, okay, it works in non-spectral. It still works, but it's been heavily nerfed. Honestly, you could if you want. Maybe it is still worth using. Maybe we'll test later. But the bonus, it also got nerfed to the life, the life percentage, everything. It's been nerfed heavily nerfed. So we are using scavenging as an ignite to deal our massive damage. Okay, and next up we have clusters. Now, apparently, the most efficient way to craft clusters is to use a 2-socket resonator. So, delve crafting, fossil crafting, 2 sockets with prismatic and scorched. And so that scorched prismatic apparently is 1 in 17 to hit a large cluster. So 1 in 17 for this. Some tips while crafting is if you land Burning Bright plus Widespread and you have an open prefix, that means you can Exalt Slam either Cremator, Master of Fire, or Smoking Remains, I think. There's 3 available options to slam the prefix. So when you have an open prefix with Burning Bright, you can slam Exalt that and try to get lucky, which is what I did. That's what I did for me. Also check the item level. So item level 50 to 67 actually eliminates a lot of the bad mods, and it will help you a lot when trying to craft. But yes, they are more expensive, but I think it is worth it. As for medium cluster, they are very cheap to make. Medium clusters use Alt Spam and Regal. Alt Spam 1 prefix, Regal the 2nd, that's it, you're done. So that's going to be our cluster jewels covered. Next up, okay, here we go. Here's a really cool tech. Our sword enchant. Now, when you kill and ignite an enemy, inflict an equivalent ignite on each nearby enemy. So what does this do? This is basically Aberoth's hooves. If anyone ever remembers, Aberoth's hooves, I can't type. This basically had same effect, right? It's the same item. Same item. So what this does is when you kill a monster that is ignited, it will spread that ignite to all nearby enemies. And this can change, it's like a chain reaction, right? So you kill one and you spawn and you spread it around, and it, from my observations, is that it does work. And in Simulacrums, it actually helps a lot because you're not getting more rewards per wave. Because if you look at the corner here, right, when these pop, they go all the way to the side and they all die. They pop all the way to the side and they all die, right? Pop all the way to the side, all die. And it's very, very, very nice. Otherwise, normally, this one here will explode. It will have its prolif around here, and those mobs have to walk over here to the prolif. But in some situations, sometimes it will pop, 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 and the entire lane is covered in fire. So it helps a lot in simulacrums. Now, it's worth noting that I have cold multi, and obviously that's trash. Okay, this league, my RNG has been in the bin, in the fucking bin. So nothing I've gone for is going for. It's getting to me, right? Nothing. I'm not getting any RNG. It's all been pretty bad. Now that is clusters and sword enchant. Next up is Defiance. So in my first POB, I said that I didn't have Defiance, okay? But then I realized that in some situations, I would say 1 every 3 to every 4 simulacrums, you end up getting a stack of wasting touch, which is a delirium thing. So you see how you have paralyzing touch here? Okay, you get 3 stacks paralyzing touch. Sometimes and rarely, you would get wasting touch times 10. And wasting touch times 10 is 0 recovery rate. Okay? 0 recovery rate. And that's solved with Defiance. Now, so here I am. I've gotten unlucky with AFK, and I've spawned a Kosis only, okay? So, I've accidentally spawned only Kosis. Now, what I would do if he's the last guy alive, let's try to kill these mobs first. Okay. He's last alive, right? Now, what I would do, I'll spam Penance Mark, is my first backup, right? Penance Mark, and you kill the phantasms, and when they die, it'll proc Ignite. And make sure you actually stay in range, right? And that's the first backup. The next backup is to use Vow Breach. So I go Vow Breach, and you also need Defiance to help you with that, because Defiance doesn't care if you don't have immutable, right? If you don't have immutable, stun. Okay, let me explain it one more time. When you use Vow Breach, you become stun immune. So what happens when you stun immune is your Blood Notch is turned off. Blood Notch is turned off, right? So you want to keep Defiance on, because Defiance keeps you alive while you cast a Vow Breach. So that's 2 things. A second thing that makes it really easy. And that's very important. Okay, that's very important. And that's going to be why you need Defiance. So those 2 things. Next up is Flask Crit. Okay, so I've been asked a lot as well. Why do you have a Flask Crit on your belts? Well, same answer as before. I have been very unlucky. So I wanted to Hunter Exalt Slam max life %, but I missed it, and I got Flask Crit, and I'm broke, so that's it. It's useless, okay? Next question I get a lot is, why don't you have Recoup Mastery over 3 seconds? So, if you didn't know, Recoup Mastery here, the second line here says Recoup effects instead occur over 3 seconds. Now, this seems good, right? Means you have faster recovery rates of your Recoup. Actually, no. It's not actually very good. It's basically net neutral. So, what happens here is, when you have Recoup, your damage is actually being recouped over 4 seconds naturally. And if you don't do that, it will be over 3 seconds instead with Mastery. But the total amount recovered is still the same. So what's important to note here is that when you do, when you get hit with Petrified Blood, you have to balance this out with your Recoup. But because Petrified Blood is over 4 seconds, it does not matter if you have 4 seconds or 3 seconds as your Recoup on your duration. Like 3 or 4 has no difference. No difference. Okay, same thing. So it seems good, but actually it's no difference. All you need to know is you need 40% Recoup, and that's it. And you don't need the recovery rate. And that should be just about every question that everyone has asked so far. Yeah. Vow Breach is very important. It helps a lot. You need 30% Recoup. Is it 30 or... Oh yeah, a high level PB is no, it's 40. Oh yeah, no, it is 30. It's a 75% of 40, right? 75% of 40, which is 30. Correct. It's only 30%, 30% recoup. But having extra recoup helps you heal. That's correct. It helps you heal. And that should be everything I covered, I think. Is there anything else that I missed? DD scavenging says you can't use spawn corpses. Correct. We're using our natural corpses here. Is Shaper Slam the biggest fizz in game? Yes. And I tag Shaper Slam with determination, but no imbalance guard. So Defiance only helps you live during Battle Breach. Yes, it helps you in that and for wasting touch, which I think it went over, right? I think it went over it. Wasting touch gives you no recovery rates. Yeah. And I think that's it. Oh, helmet. Okay. Where's last mob? Is it this mob here? Are you serious? Okay, helmet. The helmet basically is an elder base, and you spam essence until you hit conk effect and burning damage. And yes, it's very expensive. Okay, it's very expensive, but I would say it's probably, where is the last monster? Is it up the top? You? Why am I dying? Okay, I got saved by DD there. DD saved me there. Where is this? Oh my god, are you freaking serious? Yeah, there you go. S to helm. So, use S to spam voices. 7, of course 7. Of course 7. Big question. Carson has CD time skill including transfigured version? CD time to a skill including, yes. So you cannot use 2 DDs on the same custom stun, or actually all custom stun. Only 1 DD. What is the helm? Hysteria or horror, whichever is cheaper. So horror is 30% early, hysteria is 30% more damage to life. Either or, whatever is cheaper. Does penance mark still work auto cast punishment? Yes, you gotta spam penance mark during auto cast punishment, and it works. It works together. Does status work with this build? Yes, it would work if you have sources of shock and freeze. So you could use like cold snap as a freeze and innovate as a innovate as a shock, and that will be very nice as a 60% damage on status. Would Arc Demon Crown be an upgrade with implicit on the helmet? Arc Demon Crown, no, because for us, where Arc Demon, is Arc Demon the +2 supports? No, -2 supports, right? -2 supports, +2 main. RF doesn't scale very well with levels, so no. And as for Blizzard Crown, also no, because we are using RF and explosions, so no. Why don't we anoint Whisper of Doom? We need 2 curse punches. No, you don't. So if you look carefully, right? If you watch them, you can actually curse Penance Mark with 1 curse. You just keep refreshing it, even though it's punishment. It works fine. That's all the questions in chat. What else we got? It's proc triggered skills overkill proc 1 mark a second. Yes, but it's also for the Covenant Lash, which is 20 times to get 1 proc, right? 5% chance. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. That's all I can really think of. And hopefully this should be a good FAQ for understanding the intricacies of the build. I would still say Ultimatum is cheaper and probably easier, and maybe it's even better. Okay, it might be even better. But again, remember, read the comments, check the pinned comment, check the description for always updated videos, also updated POBs. And that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.